All right, here we go. Yeah. Ghost Riders Tech Adventure Where here we are. Music, Keelan Lee Cunningham of Ghost Riders. Lee, go ahead. Let's have you introduce yourself.
I am Lee Cunningham, as Tommy just said. I started Ghost Riders a couple of years ago. At this point, we are sanctioned with AMA. We're hosting races with AMRA, which is our local off-road riding circuit. We've got in Arizona, roughly 1,700 members. 200-ish at this point in time are dues-paying members. Most of those are dirt bike related, but we've got a couple hundred on the street bike side. Got plenty of sponsors, one of which is TAC here.
Yeah.
And yeah, we love all things off-road, all things two wheels. Any more than that, I am highly attractive. I injure easily, and I got jokes. That's it.
Outstanding. Thank you. Mike Locke, tell us who you are.
I'm Mike Locke. I met the Ghost Riders through my YouTube channel, Old Man Enduro, and really liked the guys. Awesome club. They treated me just fabulous. We spoke about maybe opening up a chapter in Southern Utah, and we've just made it happen recently. I am the president of the Southern Utah chapter. Our Facebook page has about 1,700 people on it. We just started taking members. We're at about 23 right now, but I think we're gonna start skyrocketing pretty soon. And we're a 501c3 organization. What we go for mostly is trail advocacy and maintaining and getting trails preserved for the dirt bike community, which has not had a voice in this area ever. So it's nice to be able to represent the moto community around here through the Ghost Riders.
Outstanding.
We love having you.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan Driver, who are you?
I'm doing great. I'm Dan Driver. I am the newly elected vice president of the Arizona Ghost Riders chapter. I try to be the heart and soul and the ears to the members. I report back to the president and let them know everything that's going on, and work with Lee Cunningham, the president. I do work with Mike Locke and help him out, anybody that needs help. And my whole family's involved, and we all just pitch in where we can, try to help with sponsorships and get them lined up, and just keep everyone moving forward.
Outstanding. And real quick, before we introduce our guest speaker, I'm Tom Parker of TAC Adventure Wear. I'm one of the sponsors to both Ghost Riders Group. Arizona family-owned business. We're primarily a clothing line that supports the off-road communities. That also includes mountain biking. We are known for sponsoring athletes. We feel like our mission is to give of ourselves and give generously, and that's why we feel like we are a pretty good match to Ghost Riders. I try to meet up to their style as best I can, because this is a group that is known about giving, and giving comes in a lot of different packages. It could be the giving of money, the giving of time, giving of verbal support, whatever it is. This is probably the most giving group I've ever seen in my life. So I'm very proud to be a part of this group. And then our guest speaker today happens to be my brother, Greg Parker, from Scottsdale, Arizona. He and I are both natives. Greg, a little bit about yourself.
Hey, I'm Greg Parker. Tom's my brother. I don't ride anymore due to my accident, but like they say, with age comes a cage sometimes. So I do ride it side by side, but I can also help with some of the rules, the unwritten rules that are out here between side-by-sides, dirt bikes, horses, and other types of riders that do come out here. and offer some guidance of what we're trying to achieve through this and make it simple for everybody. I'm lucky enough to have Taylor Roberts as one of my neighbors, and he's a great guy, and I get to hear a lot of things through his life, through KTM, and how he rides out here and what he comes across. So I'm here to help in that manner.
Hey, that's outstanding. And so, recently I was talking to somebody who's pretty prevalent in the side-by-side racing community, and how I identified, hey, there's a little bit of tension between motorcyclists and side-by-siders, and they were like, really? I didn't know that. So I'm like, well, maybe it's just the scare that us dirt bikers have with certain side-by-siders, and the fear of coming around corners and being caught off guard, and so we just kind of figured, I think the point behind this recorded video is to say, well, instead of having this tension between groups, maybe we can help educate each other. Maybe we can help the side-by-siders understand our fears and concerns, and maybe the side-by-side community might have something for us moto guys to learn from too. So we thought, hey, no better way to do this than record a video, and talk about maybe some of y'all's accidents and how that's happened, and maybe bring awareness that trail safety is kind of a big deal. So Lee, you're just talking off camera about your accident that you had about it last October, did you say?
Yeah, I believe it was October. Could have been September, but it was last year. It wasn't all that long ago. Like I mentioned off camera, it was at the Dunes trip in Glamis, and it happened to be one of our own guys. Truth be told, we just set off, and I had never been to the dunes before, so I don't know. I wasn't sure how to approach lines and whatnot, but I got video of it. It's got probably overall over 100,000 views between the different media outlets. Wasn't that bad. Hurt my back and some soft tissue we won't necessarily go into, but I am still somewhat dealing with the back. What had happened was I had stalled the bike near the peak of a dune. It was really soft, just wasn't making it up, got sprayed in the face. Side by side was following me too fast, too close, and he couldn't do anything. He just hit me in the back. Me and the bike moved maybe like 10 feet or so. After the bumper made contact with my spine, it had popped my water bladder because I was running one of those hip pouches, and folded my phone in half. If those weren't in there, it probably would have done some more significant damage to me, but I couldn't hardly walk, lift up my left foot for a while. I luckily had brought a bottle of hydrocodone because, in what we do, dirt biking, off-roading, whatever, people tend to get injured. And being out in the desert, you don't have access necessarily to some immediate relief. But I've learned. Yeah. The guy, we didn't have any beef. He was a member of the club. Didn't give him any issue. He was really apologetic, but really it just came down to he was following too close, and ended up being a safety hazard for one particular ghost rider. So that's that.
Well, we're glad that you're here and able to talk about it, although it comes with pain.
Yeah, I can still stand up.
Yeah. So Greg had his run-in with a tangled up moto accident, and so Greg, are you comfortable sharing your story?
Yeah, absolutely. Back in 1990, we just left Needle Rock to head back towards the trucks on our very last ride. And once we got back to the truck, we were supposed to sell our bikes. And it had just rained that morning. The sand was perfect. Everything was great. And I'm giving it everything it's got. I'm on a YZ490 and I'm flying. And I come around right-hand sweeper, nothing out of the ordinary, just a wide open, kind of wide open sweeper, but I couldn't see past the apex. And as soon as I got to the apex, there was a guy on a three-wheeler, and we hit.
And he was apexing the left side of the lane.
Yeah, if you look at it as stay to the right in a sense, he was in my lane and I was in the right lane, if you would look at it that way. And we hit something, broke my gas tank, gas got up on me, and then something sparked it off. And then apparently there's a big fireball in the sky. I flew about 40 feet, and the guy hit, flipped over the bars, dislocated his shoulder, and he was pretty much okay for that matter. I took the brunt of it and laid on fire until I could get help from my friend. And, it took a while to get me out. And back in 1990, you didn't have cell phones or any way of communication. So it took quite a while to get help. And, the accident happened out around 11 in the morning. I didn't get to the burn unit till 6 that night. And I had a broken femur, broken foot, broken ribs, and I just laid out there. So as time progressed, I had learned, because attorneys got involved in all this, I had learned that you might not think about it when you ride out there in the desert, doesn't matter where, but there is a rule that if you are on the wrong side of the trail, like in my situation, I had the ability to take that guy's house and everything he owned just because he was on the wrong side. So that's one thing I want to relay to everybody is it's serious. And I know we all do it, not on purpose, but we all get on the wrong side, but it does have detrimental effects.
So it's kind of like street laws kind of still exist, even though it's not policeable. There's legal.
Correct.
Oh, I guess I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah. So like I said, I've learned a lot in the past 33 years. I just had my 61st surgery on my back, so I can give you a good doctor's name if you need it.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's been a long haul, and I'm still going through surgeries for the rest of my life. So it's was, like I said, 1990, and I had everything you could wear at that time on. So I couldn't imagine not having a piece of equipment that I didn't have on, how I would be to this day. So it's just, same thing. You're going to get in a crash. It's just hopefully with not somebody else.
Yeah. So
Greg, if you don't mind me asking real quick, sorry about that, Tom. How old were you at the time when that happened?
I was 25.
You look younger.
I had a good doctor.
You get to see him regularly. I hope you guys are close.
Yeah. Well, my original doctor that did the majority of the work on my face, he was an amazing man. He has since passed away, and now I got a new doctor at Mayo. And the neat thing about that is they both did their internship together, so it was an easy transition. So there wasn't that much lack of information, if you will. So it was a seamless operation.
So, of course, that was a good high-level view, skipping over a lot of the details of things that you had to go through, and then us as family to see, everything that Greg had to endure to get to this place in life was words just can't describe it. It was horrific to see anybody go through such a thing. And so realizing how serious trail safety is, and the importance of us trying to cast a simple video like this forward in the hopes that maybe just one person, be it on a dirt bike or a side-by-side, whatever it is, just kind of takes trail safety a little bit differently in mindset to say, hey, there's a lot of blind corners out here. We don't know what's coming on the other side. Let's assume somebody's coming, for your own safety and for the safety of others. I don't know, Mike, have you had any experiences with those surprise?
Not a side-by-side, dirt bikes a few times, like head-on collisions. But you know, the thing is, it's not just like, I think people think about it and they think like desert, like, you know, we get down in a lot of washes. I know you guys have a lot of washes. We've got a lot of washes. Some of them are just over your head and they're tight, but they're wide enough for a side-by-side or anything else. And it's constantly in the back of your head, you know. And I'm actually a coward, and it's very rare that you'll see me in the front of the pack in a situation like that. And the same with single track. So the desert, we have all the washes and such. You got sand dunes. In the forest, then they've got trees, right? And 50-inch trails. There's an area up just north of us. It's up by above Cedar City, Utah. It's called Duck Creek, and it's high elevation. And we would love to be able to ride in there in the summer because it's up around 10,000 feet. But everybody that's in the dirt biking community is terrified to go up there. They're all wider trails, like 50-inch trails, and some a little bigger, and it's packed full of side-by-siders. So the moto guys just do not go up there. They're terrified because people get in a side-by-side, even if they've never ran one before, they instantly think that they're a Baja racer. And I'm not like doing everybody with it, but a lot of it, the rentals are a huge thing around here. Like side-by-side rentals are gigantic, and these people have no idea what they're doing. And they get in that thing and they instantly think they're in the Baja 1000. They have to go as fast as they can anywhere. Yeah, it's a pandemic around here. It's insane. There's thousands of printed side-by-sides every weekend. And so we stick to the single track trails so they can't get on there. And yeah. It could be a scary thing. But Utah has just implemented a law, and I don't know if you know this, Lee and Dan, but before you come down here and ride, there's an online course you have to take. It's free, but you have to have this certificate. If you get pulled over and don't have it, you'll probably get a ticket. But it's an online course, it's free, and it's for everybody that has off-road, side-by-sides, dirt bikers, quads, you name it. You have to go and take this basic safety course, and it goes over the basic rules like that, like telling people, hey, there's 3 guys behind me. Hey, I'm the last guy. Shutting the gate. If it's open, leave it open. If it's closed, leave it closed. But just the general common courtesies. A lot of people complain about it, like, oh, it's government oversight. I'm like, it's a darn good idea. That way, if someone's going to rent a side-by-side, then they're going to know the rules. Then you're going to know to let people know how many people are coming behind them and what to do.
Will you send us that after this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It takes like 10 minutes and it's free, and it's just you download it on your phone and you got it.
So we've got a minute 20 left on the clock, and I definitely want to hear from Mr. Driver. You have anything to chime in on this?
I haven't had a whole lot of incidents. I've had a couple near misses with the side-by-sides, mostly around Wildcat. Mike brought it up in the washes. Some of these washes we have can be up to 1/8 of a mile wide. In our big flash flood areas, they have a lot of overgrowth trees. They do have trails that go in and out of the trees. And again, it's just coming through there. I am a slower rider, so I am a little more cautious. And when I do come through them trees, I have had side-by-sides going through a pretty good clip, 30, 40 miles an hour. And they're coming around the same blind curve I am, just in an opposite direction. And I just, sometimes some of them throw caution to the wind. And I have been pushed up into the brush and bushes and some whatnot. And we do have some narrower washes where it does get concerning to come through there. So I do tend to ride a little slower and a little more open spaces. And I always look, one of my biggest pet peeves is I always look for dust out in front of me. If I know no one's riding in front of me, I'm looking for that big cloud. And then I know that, you know, I need to pay attention because, so we were down in, just riding around in the washes. And like I said, everybody just needs to be careful. Best advice I can give is keep an eye out for dust in front of you, big dust clouds. Be cautious around blind turns. Make sure you got all your gear on. And the number one rule is expect the unexpected when it comes to an area that has a lot of traffic in it. And I know we all like to harp on side-by-sides, but it's Jeeps, side-by-sides, other bikes, three-wheelers, horses, wild horses, just a lot of everything. And there's a lot of things that we can advocate, and Mike is working great on this, to get trails designated for certain things. And hopefully that, you know, we can expand on that here in Arizona as Utah is working on. And we all know Idaho has some of the greatest trails up there that they put a lot of, they work together as a community that is probably one of the best in the nation to keep their trails separate, and they work together on that to keep that land open. And I think that's everyone's goal overall, is to keep land open. And we can't bicker with each other, or that's going to happen. They'll just be like, we're just tired of it. So,
yeah,
you know, it all, safety and land use, it all goes hand in hand.
It's everybody's responsibilities. Not, you can't just lay it on side by sides. It's dirt bike. See, dirt bike guys I ride with do it too. They're just cutting corners, and you know, I generally say something, but it's not, and that's not the only reason that we have quibbles with side by side. So it's not just a safety thing. It's other things as well. So, but like he said, we have to work with them, regardless if you like them or not. Side by sides are the largest and fastest growing segment of off-roading at this
It's
time.
a multi-billion-dollar industry that is not going anywhere.
So if we want, like us, we've our plans, we have full intentions to get together with the UTV guys, the side by sides, the rock crawlers. The more people we have, the less likely we are to lose our land and be able to keep it, because the other side's there too. They want to take it away. They don't want off-roaders of any type. They don't care if you're in a side-by-side or ride a dirt bike or a four-wheeler. They could care less. You're on an internal combustion engine and they hate you and they don't want you on the land. So we have to work together.
And education, educate each other, work with each other, safety. If we can all get on the same trail, ride safely together without hitting each other and causing problems, we are a large number of people that can come together and do this. And I think safe, great starting point, and educating each other on it so we can get a strong cohesion together to do this. And it's not that we hate them. We want, as motorcycle riders, we want them to understand where we're coming from. And usually we try to be open-minded on the motorcycle side, and we want to hear from them. What can we do? You know, and that's, we don't get a lot of feedback back and forth. And I think that we need to bridge that gap, and along with that will come safer ways of doing things.
Yeah, I don't remember if we mentioned this on the recorded camera anyway, but we're going to be starting a new division with like 4x4s and UTVs, and that will help us to work together in the between the four-wheelers and the two-wheelers.
Yeah, and I know Tom and I have discussed that we need to get a lot of education going with the rental companies, and
Yeah.
either have them watch a video or some sort of short demonstration, staying to the right. You're not the only one on the trail. Don't stop in the middle of the trail. Things like that we take as common sense because we've been doing it for a while, but they don't know. And that should help a lot, I would think.
Yeah, ideally, a video would be amazing, but spoken from somebody's mouth comes with different impact than even just a video. But the rental companies can only do with what they have with staff. But yeah, safety is a big deal. I'd be so curious to have a conversation with the other communities to find out, hey, is there something that us dirt bikers do that irritates them besides we have more fun? But yeah. Oh, Lee, all right.
There we go.
But simultaneously, Greg, so with you being a resident out in an area that we all like to ride, there's a lot of equestrian out there, and I feel like the horseback riders are incredibly nice people. And do you have any feedback for us moto types that we come flying around a corner and then all of a sudden find some equestrian folks, and they don't seem to get upset, but maybe deep down inside we're an annoyance to them, but we all seem to get along. Is there any advice that you can give us out there?
The one thing I do hear a lot about is the ones that don't realize that a horse can get spooked. And I hear it a lot, especially on the dirt roads going towards the forest, is people don't slow down and try not to spook the horse. That's a big thing I keep hearing from both sides. It's side by side, bikes, quads, all that. And just a simple slow down, even stop if they wave you on, that's huge for them. And we grew up that way, so it's second nature for Tom and I. But a lot of people that come out here, they don't know that.
Yeah, I did a lot of mountain biking before coming to dirt biking, and we shared a lot of the same trails, so it was pretty common knowledge amongst hikers, mountain bikers, and the equestrians to give the horses the right of way. Pull over, just wait for them to go. And on a dirt bike, I think it would probably be smart to kill the engine so you're not making any horse scaring noises.
Generally, I think, and another rule of thumb that we've always practiced, if it's at all possible to go on the downside of the horse, so you're not up above them and looking bigger. But if I come across a horse, and you go up north, and where I grew up, namely, always yield to a horse. And you know what? I will stop. We're not in a race, right? And a lot of people ride trails like they're in a race. But if I come to a group of hikers or mountain bikers, I'll just stop and kill my engine and talk to them. Take off your helmet maybe and just say hi to them. It goes such a long ways. It's like you'll see people like looking grumpy, and you'll stop and talk to them. By the time they leave, they're in a good mood and having a good time, and and nobody's mad at each other.
Right.
I dig it. So what about the off-road Jeep guys and girls, people that are out there that are minding their own business, having a good time, not causing a ruckus, and then moto guys come flying around a corner? How does that work? What's the etiquette there? Who is there?
Those guys are going a half a mile an hour and got about a 12-pack in.
Yeah, I'd say slow your roll, pass them in a safe manner. Don't roost their vehicles or their skin. They like to have their legs hanging out. Just give them space, and a little common sense goes a long way. The areas that we tend to get into most problems, whether you're in a UTV or a dirt bike, Jeeps don't tend to go this quick, but is blind corners, especially in the washes. You can't see. You can't, like Dan mentioned earlier, look for the cloud of dust. In some of these, the walls are so high, you're not seeing dust until you're already eating the bumper of that UTV. And I mean, I've got a bunch of buddies who have UTVs. I've been passenger thinking we're going to murder somebody not in a cage one day. You know, we've had some close calls. Getting them to slow down, though, just seems to be an ego check that they're not ready to internalize, I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, we just did that Crown King, the Lake Pleasant to Crown King run. I believe that was about a 40-mile one-way trip.
Mm-hmm.
I bet I saw 100 vehicles going up and down that road that day. And I think we had one near miss. Everyone was really courteous. And we did have a big traffic back up and a tight wash where one of the UTVs broke down, but everyone was very patient. I was very happy with that trip and the way it turned out. Nobody was hurt. People weren't being pushed. Weren't being rushed. We all sat back and waited till someone got, we got single filed in there where we couldn't move forward or backward. So we just had to wait. It was generally a good time, and there was a lot of good people on that trail that day. And I wish it was like that every time we went out.
Well, you know what? People seem to forget that what you're doing is not more important than what somebody else is doing. Right? So it's not like you're the king of that trail. If it's a wide enough trail and it's side-by-sides can go on it, they have just as much right to be on it as you. And your trip and your speed and what you're doing is not more important. They're out there to have fun and use the land also, and they have a perfect right to do so. It's just, like you said, a matter of safety and education. And you bring up a good point, Tom, like the rental companies, there needs to be a lot more education there. That's my opinion, because I feel like a huge part of that. A lot of the guys around here that ride dirt bikes, they have side by sides too. They love to do both, and it's fun. It's the lack of education of people doing it is the number one problem, in my opinion, which doesn't count for much.
Yeah,
counts to me.
And we deal with the Jeep tours out here and the rental companies as well. And seems like people forget that there's a rear view mirror and you can be on them and you're not really going that fast, but they're just going extremely slow. And which is fine, but stay off and let people pass. Don't drive like a drunk driver in a sense and take a lane. So it can be challenging. So a lot of us, we don't go on the weekends. We go during the week just to be safe.
Yeah. Unfortunately, most people don't have that luxury when you consider that the vast majority of the populace works Monday through Friday, so they go out on the weekends. But same, I prefer to go during the week myself. If I don't have less traffic, just less people to run into.
Yeah, dirt bikes is a blue collar sport for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. So I think we kind of did a pretty good job covering what was on our minds, and we're looking forward to bringing all the dirt communities together, because in the end we all share the same play space, and we all want to be safe. And I think that there's a way that maybe with a little camaraderie and bring the brotherhood together, that maybe our voices can be heard, so that way we can all do this together in a safe way. And it may sound pretty far reach to hope for that, but by doing nothing gains us nothing. So Lee and Dan and Mike, I commend you guys for making a shot at bringing this together, and Lee and Greg talking about your stories of bad accidents and what an unfortunate accident can look like, surrounding trail safety and trail etiquette, that if this reaches even just one person to ride their toys a little bit differently, then I think this is all worth it. So am I leaving anything out that might be on your mind still that we should touch on?
I may or may not have an officer in the club who is super worried about side by sides chewing up all the single track. I think he's unfounded there. But
I don't think so at all.
you don't think so?
No, it's a huge problem around here.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's why all our trails are on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah. That's what I'm picturing. Like, I don't know how a side by side would get to a lot of the single track that we ride.
There are some signs out here where I'm at. It'll say this trail is meant for 50 inches wide, 64, and I just avoid them just to be thoughtful. But there's no reason to be on a single track and a side by side, period. There's just no reason. And you have to be mindful. And
Yeah.
And there's zero signage up here, except for the signs we just put up on the Tocqueville Twist Trail. But you go out in Warner Valley and out, there's no signs. It's just nothing. And if it's like on an area, a side by side sees it, and I would bet quite a bit of money it's probably a rental. They see a trail, single track or not, like, oh, let's go down there. And next thing you know, somebody else goes down. Next thing you know, it's a 2-track. And
well, we all know the only way to fix that problem is to educate it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And having them.
That goes all the way back to Alexander the Great. How do you control the world? By educating it into your way of thinking.
Yeah. And I think having them in the club rather than trying to educate people that aren't connected to us will go a long way, because I don't know, Mike, what your experience is, but from what I've experienced in the last couple of years, the Ghost Riders love the Ghost Riders, and they wouldn't want that animosity that would come by coming and crushing all the single track trails. And with you guys coming in and being highly focused on trail advocacy, it should all just work together for the good of anybody who wants to ride off-road, whether that's in a cage or on 2 wheels.
And as clubs and coming together with the UTV clubs and stuff, because there's a lot of big ones around here, that's just a step towards the education and getting everybody on board with, what's going on in trail etiquette.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Agreed. At the end of the day, we should all be able to have a beer with a bunch of dirt on our face from a great day out in the desert, and everybody be able to share the stories together.
Yeah.
Hey, that's awesome. Well, I think this was a success. Well, I can't wait to have Lee and or Mike distribute this out and see what kind of feedback comes from it. But are you gonna edit this, or? Hey,
maybe.
The only way to edit this is to add more to that beard that you got there and make it longer.
What if I do?
Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous, Lee.
Yeah, I'll catch up.
Thanks for having us, Tom, and thanks for sharing your story, Greg.
You're welcome.
I already knew your story, Lee.
And it's always a pleasure to talk to all of you.
I flew 180 feet.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you all so much. This was a treat. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Tommy.